we've got some brand new and crazy reports about Josh Brolin coming back to the role of Cable for Kevin Feige's MCU. On top of that, there were a number of different updates about the rumors of Fox X-Men characters popping up in Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. This is nuts. What are you doing, Feige? What is up, everybody? It's Josh coming to you from Nerd Vengers Tower. As always, man, what an exciting time. Go ahead and smash the like button if you are super hyped up for the X-Men to be coming into the MCU. In my opinion, this is the biggest, most hyped thing that will be coming to Marvel. I mean, there's a reason that those OG Fox X-Men movies were massively popular and made all of the money that they made. It is because the X-Men were some of the most popular comics from the Marvel Comics line, especially in the 90s. X-Men were huge. And throughout the decade of the 90s, X-Men was arguably more popular than anything else at Marvel or just anything else in comics. That's why Marvel Studios sold the license to the X-Men back in the 90s when they were going through a bankruptcy problem. That's a whole nother story for like a whole nother video thing. We've talked about it before, but it's a whole nother thing. The point is, the X-Men are hyped, man. Many Marvel fans, like myself, have been absolutely loving what Kevin Feige has done with the Infinity Saga, Thanos, Iron Man, Cap, all of it. However, none of those characters have as strong as a connection with me as the X-Men do. Spider-Man, pretty high as well, but X-Men for me, it's where it's at. So let's get into this brand new report. This is coming from Daniel Richtman. It's all just coming from a tweet, man, where he's literally saying that Marvel definitely wants Brolin back as Cable. I mean, that's crazy for a number of different reasons, right? I mean, first of all, Josh Brolin famously played Thanos, not just in live action MCU, but also voiced the character for Marvel's What If. And yeah, he totally played Cable in Deadpool 2, and I actually thought he was really cool as Cable, but we all kind of just believed that they would do a new Cable or do recasting when it comes to the X-Men. Now, again, at the end of this video, I want to talk about just updates around the rumors of Fox X-Men coming into Doctor Strange 2, because there's a lot going on here, but let's just focus on Cable himself. One option for this would be just to be bringing Cable back for Deadpool 3 or whatever he plans to do with the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool character. Cable and Deadpool have a lot of history throughout the comic books, and he has slipped through time and gone into other universes in Marvel Comics. And it would be kind of hilarious if Josh Brolin's Cable just accidentally followed Wade Wilson through some kind of portal or was shoved into the 616 multiverse via what's going on with Loki and Kang the Conqueror or something like that. Again, he was a great part of that Deadpool movie, and I would say that all the parties involved, Ryan Reynolds, Josh Brolin, and Kevin Feige, would likely want to see a better version of that buddy cop relationship between Deadpool and Cable moving forward. So it could just be for something like that with Deadpool 3. And I just want to say that either way, bringing him back for that franchise and just bringing him back as a character, it's crazy. I'm super excited for it. Would love to see what Feige would do with him. But it is also possible this is just another tease in a line of many teases as to what Feige wants to do with the Fox X-Men and with mutants in general when it comes to his Marvel Cinematic Universe. We frankly don't know what is going on with mutants in our universe. For all intents and purposes, there are no mutants in the MCU, at least as far as we understand it. Now, Cable comes from an alternate timeline where Apocalypse has won and where mutants are being destroyed. There's this crazy war that is going on. And there are also comic runs with Cable where he comes from the future to protect Hope Summers, who is the first mutant that is born after the House of M event, which famously saw Wanda say no more mutants and shut down mutants for a long time in Marvel Comics. Now, let's leave that thread there for a second. Let's talk about Wanda and Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. Last week, many different rumors popped off. We talked about one of them in a video. We talked about another one in a live stream last week. By the way, definitely go check out the live streaming channel. If there's ever something crazy going on and you don't see a video pop up on this channel, it's very likely that I covered it on a live stream. So go over there so you don't miss out on all of the stories. But the big thing that was talked about last week was Charles Xavier being rumored to have an incredibly visually stunning fight with Wanda Maximoff in Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. And further reports indicated hinted that Wanda will actually be the big bad of that entire movie, and she will be fighting characters from the MCU, from the Sony universe, probably a couple of the Spider-Men that hang out after No Way Home, and she'll be fighting characters from the Fox X-Men universe. There's also this big report out there that Marvel's going to do an Illuminati, rather a multiversal version of the Illuminati, which will include characters like Balder the Brave, Mordo, Xavier, and Captain Britain, as well as Monica Rambeau for whatever reason. And in fact, even more reports came out, and this was something that Grace Randolph talked about a lot in a video she did breaking down all of these different reports, that they are definitely going to be bringing back several of the Fox X-Men for this movie, and that's a big part of the plan. And this is where Wanda being at the center of all of this makes a lot of sense, and it can explain a number of different things that are going on here, including how Cable can end up coming in a very significant way once this is all done with. I think the first obvious way that Wanda could make this all make sense is that she could be revealed to be a mutant herself. Now that seems probably obvious to many of you, but technically we don't have that confirmed. It was indicated by the Shuri's Files book, which appears to be actual MCU canon, that people within Sokovia had certain genetic things about them that made them more susceptible for the kind of experimentation that Baron Strucker wanted to do. Genetics, having certain traits, this really seems like it's going to be mutants to me, but it's yet to be determined how much of this Scarlet Witch and tying that to the Darkhold and prophecy and the mutants and where Wanda comes from as a mutant are going to intersect. We don't know what Feige's full plan is here, but it's very likely that Wanda is not just a witch and this prophesied being, but she is also a mutant, which will push her over the edge, and that will likely be the thing that gives her this incredible amount of power. Because it's kind of a thing from Marvel Comics that many mutants are just insanely powerful, and certain beings that already have power, if they have a mutation, it sets their power off onto another level. It's a thing throughout the comics. It's part of this whole, like, we hate the mutants, they're unpredictable, they're too crazy powerful, etc., etc. So if Wanda ends up being a mutant, and she is this crazy powerful being that can just, change things within the universe, is Wanda's presence in our universe part of the reason that we haven't seen mutants? Are they in hiding? Have they been hidden by her? Have they been hidden by Charles Xavier to prevent her from knowing the full story of what is going on? I mean, I've even thought of the possibility that Wanda already did a House of M and, without knowing it, shut off mutants within our universe, knowing that a being like Charles Xavier was going to eventually try to stop her. And even if none of that comes to happen in the film, I think it's obvious that her looking for her children, having the crazy power that she does, is going to be part of the thing that breaks the multiverse and puts her on the radar of Charles Xavier from this other universe and that group of multiversal Illuminati members. And I think you might see some kind of a crazy combination of X-Men coming in from other universes, some of the mutants from our universe being discovered or happening for the first time, much like what you're going to get with Peter Parker. I mean, think about it. We have Tom Holland Peter Parker, who is young, has just been developing, hasn't gone through a lot as Spider-Man, and he's going to be talking to more seasoned Spider-Man, at least we think, Tobey and Andrew Spider-Man, that have been at it for a long time. They have a rogues gallery. They have all of these different things that our Spider-Man doesn't yet have in the MCU. And I think that's likely the pattern that they will follow with the X-Men. They will have all of these X-Men that we know from these other movies pop in via the multiverse, but then we'll see the younger versions of them start to pop up in the 616. This will sort of allow Feige to fast track some of the stories and things he wants to do, and this could be the big reason why Charles Xavier, possibly even a Magneto, and Pietro, yes, the boner himself, may well have a lot to actually do with what's really going on with Wanda and the multiverse and mutants in the 616. And to top all of that off, what if part of this whole thing and the explanation for mutants, or this conclusion where Wanda shuts mutants off, ends with someone coming from the future? Cable, Josh Brolin's Cable, coming from a future timeline into our universe to interact with the mutants of the 616 and possibly engage with some of them from the multiverse. I mean, with Kang, time travel, quantum mania, multiverse breaking, and all this sort of stuff, I would absolutely love it if you put Cable and a time traveling version of him, you know, coming into the fold, possibly even trying to protect Hope Summers or do something with Wanda. This would be crazy and tie into the comics a lot. And so a lot of this stuff is rumor for now, although a lot of the people talking about this have very good track records with scoops and inside information. It is at the very least incredibly interesting. So I pass the question off to you guys. What do you think's going on with the X-Men? What do you think about Josh Brolin coming back as Cable? What do you think they're going to do with Wanda? How do you think this is going to help us explain what's going on with the mutants in our MCU universe? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel to see more of this content show up in your feed. And again, check out that live streaming channel. We are doing a ton of fun live streams over there. I think you'll really dig it. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.